Alright, so we just now left Homestead Park. And I'm sorry you can't see Connor. I can't get these off my thing. They're tangled up. Let's see if I can wrap them around or something. Or something like that so we can at least see. But anyway, all in all, I caught, one fish on my pole.
My pole.
No, I know, but I caught the big one on my pole.
You didn't catch the biggest one. I caught the biggest one.
No, I caught the biggest bluegill.
I caught the biggest one.
Mine was bigger than yours. Anyway.
Mine was bigger.
So anyway.
No, mine was bigger.
Hold on, stop. So anyway, we went to Homestead Park. I started off the first couple hours throwing lures. I started with a chatterbait. Went to a chop shot on a worm and Senko. Well, this wasn't really a Senko. It was a different worm. It's called a wave worm. And then I switched over to a swim bait, and finally a Spro. It was a Spro swim bait, and then a Spro Little John Chartreuse and Black. And I got nothing. The swim bait, I got about 5 or 6 bites, but I couldn't land anything. So then my son decides he wants to. This kid can magically make bluegill appear on his hook. My friend and I, we tease him that he's got a scuba diver under every pond we go to who's putting these bluegill on the hook. So anyway, after he caught his first dozen, he gets a tangle in his line, which is typical with kids. It gets frustrating, but it's part of taking your kids fishing and teaching them how to get stuff untangled. And so I help him get it untangled, and we had to sever the line and retie and stuff like that. And he was using wax worms, so I tried one of his wax worms on his pole, and immediately it's like bluefish whisperer or bluegill whisperer or fish whisperer. Hooked a little 3-4 inch bluegill, nothing worth writing home about, but hey, it at least got me a fish for the day. And then so he proceeds to issue me a bluegill challenge, 1 point per bluegill. And I threw in a stipulation that anything caught over 12 inches would get 5 points. And he agreed to that. And then our friend, before I can even get my bluegill pole and my tightline pole set up, he's already reeled in 3 more bluegills. And he's proclaiming his 3-0 lead on us. So then our friend Jeremy decides he'll take a bit of that action as well. And so we start over again. And lo and behold, we start over. And within a matter of about 20 minutes, no, it wasn't 10 seconds. In about a matter of 20 minutes, we find ourselves already in a hole, 5 points to nothing. Because he caught 5 more little bluegill. And then Jeremy got one, and
then Dad got one.
Then I finally got the biggest bluegill of the day.
No, you didn't.
It measured it was I couldn't even close my palm around it. It was pretty big bluegill, and I was satisfied with that. I was casting my red worm out about 20 feet or so. And I tell you what, I think these bluegill that we were fishing for today, with exceptions to the ones that Connor caught, were highly educated bluegill. The reason I say this is because it didn't matter if I would have had a freaking mouse trap on the end of my line. These bluegill robbed me. I probably went through 24 red worms, ran out of red worms, and finally had to start breaking off some night crawlers that we brought along with us before I finally caught my first fish once our little tournament began. So overall, I think the final tally was Connor 6 million, Jeremy and Albert 1 apiece once we officially started our time, because every time when I joined, Connor restarted his counts, and when Jeremy joined, he restarted his counts, even though he already had a 3-0 lead on me. So next time, I think we're going to have to make him fish blindfolded, or make him fish backwards, where he can only cast over his head, and he can't watch his bobber except through a mirror that he holds in his hand. We'll borrow one of the wife's little makeup compacts, and he has to watch his bobber that way.
No.
That might be a little bit more of a challenge, but I swear the kid's becoming a bluegill professional. If bluegill tournaments ever existed, which I'm sure there are some out there somewhere, but if there ever became a professional bluegill fisherman league or fisher girl league, Connor would probably be highly qualified to compete in that tournament, that series. So that's how our day went. I'll put some footage together. I caught some of Connor's bluegill on film, but the battery went dead, and you know, that's how electronics are. You don't keep charged. What
about my big one that I caught on the bottom pole?
Oh, so he had a tie line out, and he kept getting a hit. He had a bell. Oh, this is funny. So
No, I'm not.
So anyway, he has a tight line out, and because we were, you know, he had corn and nightcrawler. You know, when you're out there and you're just standing in one spot like he does with the bluegill, once he finds a little honey hole, so to speak, he has a tight line on the bottom, because nothing better than catching a carp or a catfish as well when you're out there fishing. So last weekend, maybe it was the weekend before.
3 weeks ago.
Well, I bought some bells because the kids weren't quite sure what to look for, or they didn't have the patience really to sit there and watch their tight line while they were bluegill fishing. So I bought them little bells they clip on. And just to rewind a little bit, he did catch a bluegill almost as big as the one I caught on his tight line. Gigantic.
Bigger.
It wasn't bigger. Anyway,
It was bigger.
no. So he caught this on his tight line, reeled it in, and I take it off the hook for him, and we looked at it, and I was able, his was big, don't get me wrong, it was a sandwich size, but it was probably a few ounces smaller than what mine was, because I got to put them both in my palm and taking them off the hook. So I give him credit, he got a big bluegill. Besides the little tiny minnow-sized bluegills that he was catching. But so he continues fishing, and he continues getting hits on this, and we realized that it wasn't catfish or carp, it was freaking bluegills that were out there hitting our bottom line.
And they were huge.
Well, the two that we caught on the bottom, I don't know about being huge. So my tight line kept getting hit as well, and we were not able to get them. And then I realized at that point that they weren't catfish or carp, because they would have just sucked it up and ran. It was bluegill. Well, anyway, fast forward to the end here. So Connor, after multiple reel in, cast out, he reels it in with his bell on, which is, whoops, there goes the necklaces full of rosaries. He reels it in with the bluegills, or with the bell still on, that he uses to alert him that something's messing with his bottom line. And for whatever reason, first time he's ever, well, it's the only time he's ever done it, because he baits back up, he goes to cast, forgot to take his bell off, and lo and behold, his bell flew out into the middle of the pond. He was a little disappointed. So, needless to say, not only do we have highly educated bluegill in that pond, but now they have a school bell, so they know when to change classes and so forth. But you know, all in all, I gave him another one. I had a couple extra to use, and life is good. As I always say, a bad day of fishing is better than a good day of work. So, all right, that's essentially our story for the day. I will let you guys get back. Appreciate you for watching. If you like the video, subscribe below. If you don't like the video, I understand. So have a great day, and talk to you later.